So Nvidia and AMD, chip makers, they make GPUs, which are the graphical processing units, basically the powerhouses of generative AI and training large language models. So Nvidia and AMD are going to pay 15% of their China chip sales directly to the US government. Now, Nvidia has been going back and forth with the US government since Trump came in, basically, although there were restrictions before. But they have something called the H200 chip, which is their workhorse chip. That is what most of the models that we now use are built on. They're using these H200 chips. Nvidia creates these chips and has become the largest company on earth because of this. So by market capitalization, they became the first company to hit $4 trillion. 4 trillion, yes. Start to mix up the millions, billions, and trillions because the numbers used in AI now are just so large, so immense. So first company to hit $4 trillion market capitalization. They're doing very well on these H200 chips. H200s are not allowed to be sold to China. They're too powerful, and it would allow China to speed up their rate of AI development. So China are obviously building their own chips, but they're not quite as good as the H200s. So Nvidia came to a deal with the US government to create something called the H20, which has about, depends how you measure it, but about 30 to 40% of the power of an H200, and they can't be connected together as easily. There are ways, but it can't be connected into a giant array like with the 200s. So that means a version of the chip can be sold to China, but it's not as powerful, and that means Nvidia as a company can continue to grow, which is good for America, but doesn't give China a leg up in the race. So this is now a strategic importance issue. So there's a new push. Basically, the H20 was created and was going to be allowed in China. Trump has now said, no, it won't be. And now they've cut a deal. And by paying 15% of its revenue from H20 chip sales in China to the US government, Nvidia is now allowed to sell to China. This is a bribe. There is no other way to put this. This is just a bribe. A bribe has been paid to the US government to allow for the chip sales to be sold through. It's like going to the customs and you've got a couple of kilos of heroin in the back of your car, and you give the customs official a few $1,000s or whatever just to hush up. This is just, it's 100%, this is a bribe. This is unprecedented. There's somebody, you either have a national security problem or you don't, said Deborah Elms, head of trade policy at the Hinrich Foundation. If you have a 15% payment, it doesn't somehow eliminate the national security issue, she added. So basically, Trump was saying this is a security issue. These chips cannot be sold to China because it's going to allow the Chinese government and the Chinese AI companies to catch up and surpass us on artificial intelligence, which is a national security issue. Therefore, you're not allowed to sell. Oh, but for a small low cost of 15% of your revenue, oh yeah, it's fine. It's a bribe. This is scandalous. But Jensen Huang, the head of Nvidia, has apparently gone ahead with this because he wants to unlock that Chinese market because it is just worth so much. A lot of chips make it to China already, maybe via Singapore. I forgot the exact number, but I think 40% of Nvidia chips are purchased by Singapore, which is, they have data centers, but it's quite a small country. So I think quite a few of them are being sent back up to the mainland. And then there are huge black market operations, obviously, but this is now allowing it to go through. It's no longer black market, but it means 15% of revenues are going straight to the US government and Trump, basically. So yeah, this is racketeering. This is a bribe, and it's going through, and it's amazing. But this is the world we live in. Again, nothing really surprises me in 2025 anymore. We get news like this. It's like, oh, okay.